If money were secure and repetitive work disappeared, what would happen to the shape of a human life? For a while, I think I would rest, I would play games, I would enjoy not having a schedule telling me where to be. I would probably need time to notice how much of my life had been organized around being needed somewhere. But I do not think I would do nothing forever. Eventually, I would want to build something. I would want to work on the land, make things with my hands, write, learn skills, create games, and follow ideas that did not need to become businesses in order to be worth trying. The effort would still be there. What would change is the direction of it. People often talk about a future with less work as if the biggest question is whether people would become lazy. But maybe effort was never the real problem. Maybe people do not hate effort. Maybe they hate effort attached to someone else's goals, someone else's schedule, and someone else's definition of progress. I know I can work hard. A lot of people can. We work hard inside systems that already know what they want from us. The day begins. There is somewhere to go, somewhere to finish, somewhere to answer to, and a visible way to tell whether we are doing well. Work does not only occupy our time, it interprets our time for us. Employment answers questions before we ever have to ask them ourselves. When should I wake up? What needs to be done? Who am I responsible to? Who are my peers? What makes today successful? Work may be one of society's largest systems for outsourced direction. And that is the part of automation that feels incomplete to me. We talk about income, we talk about productivity, we talk about retraining people for the jobs that remain, but we talk less about what happens when a system that has organized someone's time, identity, and sense of progress begins to weaken. For one person, that freedom could feel like relief. For someone else, it could feel like standing in a room after the lights have gone out. Not because they are incapable of freedom, because the structure that helped them recognize where they were has disappeared. If your job has been the clearest answer to the question, what do you do? Then losing it does not only change how you make money, it can unsettle the story you have been using to recognize yourself. And when people lose a structure that used to tell them what matters, they often look for a new one. That new direction might come from an influencer, an ideology, an online community, an algorithm that learns exactly what keeps their attention, an AI companion that always has an answer, a charismatic person who sounds certain. Freedom does not necessarily remove authority. Sometimes it creates a space where the next authority can enter. Borrowing direction is not automatically bad. We all learn from other people. A teacher, a framework, or a community can be a real form of an apprenticeship. The danger is not receiving direction. The danger is never examining whether the direction still belongs to you. I do not have a perfectly clear destination myself. I have more of a direction than a route. I know the kind of life I am trying to move toward: more autonomy, more time with my family, more room to write and build, and enough independence that every decision is not constrained by survival. I cannot see the exact product, business, or timeline from here, but maybe self-direction does not begin with a complete map. Maybe it begins with recognizing what already has your attention and participating before you know where it leads. An interest is not the final destination, it is the first branch. I saw that with the arcade project. It began with a very small question. I wonder if I could make something like Bubble Trouble. That one question led to characters, enemies, menus, a boss fight, music, sound, a cabinet presentation, and ideas for other games. None of those paths were visible at the beginning. Starting created paths that did not exist before. Perhaps direction is not something we discover before we move. Perhaps movement is part of how a direction becomes visible. Action produces information that thinking alone cannot. It reveals what holds our attention, what drains us, which questions become more interesting when we touch them, and which directions were borrowed versus beginning to feel like our own. As AI makes more kinds of execution cheaper, coding, design, tutoring, research, prototyping, the question becomes less whether something can be made and more whether it deserves to exist. What is worth building? What problem is worth solving? What did I notice that someone else has not noticed yet? What am I curious about? Where should these tools be pointed? Maybe this changes what education is for. Not because practical skills stop mattering. Reading, writing, mathematics, science, and history still matter. But perhaps they are not only subjects to complete before someone else tells us what comes next. Perhaps they are tools for investigating questions that matter enough to keep following. Self-direction may not be a personality trait that some people are born with and others miss. It may be a relationship with uncertainty, a willingness to remain present when there is no obvious next command, a willingness to notice which voices are guiding you and to ask whether you have chosen them or merely inherited them. There will always be things to do. The harder question is whether, after so much of life has been organized around externally assigned direction, will we learn to author a direction of our own, or will we keep looking for someone else to provide it?